here I've interviewed Dale a couple times on separate podcasts, and I could talk for literally hours with Dale. He is just I mean, there's like three people in the mortgage industry that you'd put up on a pedestal of people that like everybody knows. Dale, it's Barry Habib, Todd Duncan. These are the people that are the coaches to the coaches, the people that have been around for a long time, seen all the markets. And I think it's very appropriate that we put on a song like "Don't Stop Believing" because, I mean, Dale's been around since the '80s. I mean, come on, how many ups and downs have you seen? And
Lot.
and and I think that the best way that we could start this, Dale, is we could talk about like the winter that we're in and the hope that we need to cling to stay going because like we've been here for a minute. It's been roughly 4 years of winter. That's a long time.
It's been a
And
long one.
as someone that's been through it myself, I I kind of get excited about these times, and I don't want to steal your thunder at all, Dale. But I feel like these times are create great opportunity for people that really want to go out there and kill it.
Yep.
And I want to open up with like, here, why shouldn't we stop believing, Dale?
Yeah. Great question. So great to be with you guys. Thanks for having me. Look, here's the first thing I'm going to say. We're not in the winter. Let me just be clear about that. It is summer all day long. And the reason is we're in the money business, guys. We're not in the mortgage business. Let's just set that right from the start, okay? If we were in the mortgage business, we'd probably have some things to be concerned about, but we're not. We're in the money business. We help people to get access to money, to buy homes, the American dream. Look, I've said it my whole career. You're never going to interview a fifth grader who says, when I grow up, I want to be a renter. Okay? It's not going to happen. The American dream is still the American dream, and it will continue to be. And if you look at our business and you look at today's economy, all right? Everybody talks about, well, it's a tough winter market. The economy's rough. I go, wait a minute. It's all about how you think about things. It's all about the lens you look through and the perception you have. So here's what my lens reads in today's marketplace. Okay. And this is what it's read in 2023, 2024, and now 2025. And I am literally training loan officers all over the country doing $100 million a plus in business in these marketplaces companies that are breaking records. How are they doing it? The answer is they understand that this industry that we are in is the greatest industry on the planet, and that we help Americans in tough times to improve their financial lifestyle. So when the economy gets tough, this is when we are needed the most. So let me give you a couple stats. I'm not just going to talk words. I'm going to give you some things to back this up. All right. Let's start on the purchase side of the business. What are the two things everybody talks about? Inventory and affordability. All right. Let's talk about that for a minute. The problem today is not inventory, guys. It's the size of our network. That's the problem. There is going to be 4.1 million homes that are going to sell this year. 1.9 million of those are going to have mortgages on them, according to Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. So we know those numbers are good and they're better than they were last year or the year before. We also know the mortgage industry has reduced by almost 60% since 2021 at our prime. So let's think about this. Our inventory is at about 800,000. A good market is 1.1 million. We're 30% below a good market for inventory, but we're 60% less loan officers, which means per capita, you got more inventory today than you did 5 years ago when the inventory was good. And then here's the deal. A lot of sales happen on the back sheet. Now, what is the back sheet? The back sheet is where two realtors converse, know a home is going to go on the market. It never hits the MLS. And the only way you get access to that sale is because you know that realtor. So the reason the inventory is not the problem and our market is and our network is because we don't have enough realtors that we're getting engaged in those conversations. We're not front of mind with realtors where we're the first ones that they pick. When you expand your network, and instead of having 2 or 3 or 5 or 7 realtors, like I talked to so many loan officers that have, you do like the top producers do. You got 75 realtors. Out of those 75, you got 25 that are regular contributors. You got another 25 that they give you business now and then. You got another 25. You're trying to move up into those categories. And you're working it hard to make up for the shortage of inventory by expanding. And then you diversify your network. You work with builders, you work with investors. A large portion of the purchase business is investors. Investors know more investors. So if we will focus on the purchase side of the business, on really honing our skills on prospecting and on how to expand our networks to 2, 3, 4 times what they were in 2021 when rates were low and money was falling out of the sky for us. Instead, create that opportunity for yourself. You're going to find your purchase business is going to go through the roof. Now let's talk about refis. Here's the really interesting news. Refis are absolute killer right now. You're going, Dale, do you look at the rates of 7%? Yes. I used to sell 17 and a half in the 1980s. 7 is no big deal to me. Here's the bottom line, guys. I am literally working with loan officers today, closing 20 plus refinances a month. A month. You know why? I'll give you 3 stats. Here's all you need to know. Stat number 1, the average loan to value in the United States today is 42% for a homeowner. Never seen that number that low in my 42 years in the business. Stat number 2, the average amount of equity, according to CoreLogic, that a homeowner has today is $311,000 gross equity. Do an 80% calculation, that's $244,000 to work with. Now, here's my favorite stat. According to the Ascent, which does all of the data on consumer debt, the average household in America today has $104,000 in consumer non-mortgage debt. Never thought I'd see a 6-figure number there. So here's the deal. You got all this debt with all these high interest rates. Sure, you got a 3% mortgage, but you can't afford to pay for it because your debt's eating you alive. Why not pay off the debt and the mortgage, lower your payments $600 or $700 a month, pull $30,000 cash out to protect your family, and cut your term on your mortgage so you get out of debt sooner? Why not do that? That sounds like a great plan, but your rate's 7. Oh, I know. Ain't that amazing? And your rate's 3. So here's the question. Which one's working better for you? It's a pretty simple question. So here's the deal, guys. It's not winter. It's summer. It's our chance to crush it. That's my opening thought.
Okay, I freaking love all of that, Dale. That is
Yeah,
just
cheer up, Dale. Just cheer up.
you cheer up a little bit. It's okay.
I gotta get some enthusiasm. I gotta get more excited.
I'm giving doom and gloom in here, like to prep it up. And Dale's coming in with the bright, sunshine. Like, okay, so a couple things. First off, I want to go back to the realtor part.
Yeah.
But Dale, all my realtors are being called by 100 different loan officers.
Of course they are.
What am I going to say that's different? And Dale, how am I different? I don't know. What am I going to say to these people? And all they want is me to, pay for their marketing. How am I going to get these realtors?
Yeah, great question. So I'm going to give you 2 answers to that, Jimmy. First off, pick the right realtors. That's rule number 1. A lot of the mistake that I see today, guys, and I want you to really think about this. What I would recommend everybody watching this who is working with realtors and third-party vendors to get referrals is evaluate your relationships with them. Are these like-minded realtors? Are these realtors that are in it for working with a lender who gives great service, who's highly relational, who has high integrity, who they can rely on and count on, who's got diverse products and services, who is competitively priced, but not the lowest price? Are they those kind of realtors? If they are, work with them. If they're not, if you got those realtors who say to you, here's how I work. I have 3 lenders. Every deal that I refer to all 3. Whoever has the lowest rate gets it. I am walking the other way from that realtor. I refuse to work with that realtor. I am not going to play a game of the race to the bottom on rate. I'm not doing that because even if I close a loan, nobody makes any money on it. And all I'm going to do is be as good as my last interest rate, not my last loan or service. So what we have to do first, we got to find the right realtors. Now, what makes you different? You make you different. And how do you separate? I don't care if 10,000 loan officers are calling on a realtor. What I know about so many loan officers today that are calling on realtors is what they're doing is they're talking about themselves. Here's why you should choose me as the lender. Here's my products. Well, everybody's got those products and services. That don't make you different. What they need to talk about is the realtor. What are you doing for the realtor? How are you going to change their business? Lunch and learns. Educating them is one of the greatest ways to separate yourself in the marketplace today. The realtors are struggling just like a lot of loan officers are struggling. So you know what? You teach them how to qualify more buyers so they don't waste time driving people around who can't qualify for a mortgage. You teach them how to create better affordability. You teach them how to really understand the mortgage market. You teach them about all of your diverse products, your non-QM, your DSCRs, all the different programs you have, your DPA programs, so you can start to show them how you can expand their customer base. They are going to choose you. And here's the number one thing you have to do: build a much deeper relationship than any other loan officer. You know what the biggest problem today, Jimmy, in the market is? You know what the biggest mistake I see loan officers making? We're
Tell me.
too heavy on tech. We are high tech, but we are not high touch. We got to get back to being high touch. We got to get back to building relationships. We got to get back to getting out in the community. We got to get back to going to events. We got to get back and have lunch and learns. We got to get back to connecting with people so they love us, trust us, believe in us, and want to work with us. And you know what? When you do that, all the rest disappear.
Boy, that's 100% true, Dale. And you know, it's funny. You're talking to a
Ooh.
guy that sells tech, you know.
I know.
Yeah.
I
to your-
love tech, but you
here-
got to have both.
you
You got to
you
have
really
both.
got to
High
have
tech, high touch.
you got to be high touch, because the thing
You
is
do.
that people don't buy from your because you have the tech. They buy
They
from
don't.
you because they like you. They buy
right.
from you because they trust you. That's it. Period. End of story. And if you have the worst tech in the world and you're doing your entire mortgage business on a spreadsheet, but they like you, you're gonna win. I'm sorry, but you're gonna win. I know lots of people do millions of dollars on a spreadsheet.
And
I
let me remind
I
let me
try to
remind
sell
you,
them, but I'm just saying that's just it is a fact.
it is a fact. You're right. And the realtor and the buyer, when that loan closes, they don't remember what your tech was. They just remember if the loan closed. They remember what your
And they
service
get
was.
paid.
And they got paid. That's all they
Right?
care about at the end of the day. So you got to be high tech, high touch. There's no question about that. Let me say this. You guys are gonna love this. So I get this all, I not only coach loan officers all over the country, as you know, but I consult a lot of C-level executives in the industry because I work on the enterprise side. I'm always working with big companies because that's what I came out of. When I talk to CEOs who I'm talking to for the first time, I hear this all the time. We want to be the Amazon of mortgage. You know what I say to them? No, you don't. No, you don't. And they, what do you mean? I go, well, let's think about that for a minute. Think about Amazon. Why are they so effective and successful? Because they built their business around their core principle of speed, of getting the stuff in your hands within 24 hours at no cost for shipping, and diversity, offering a diverse line of products. But now we got to ask ourselves the important question: what's the average value of their product? You're not buying 400,000 things on Amazon. You're buying $400 things on Amazon. So those two things matter on a $400 transaction. When you start getting into $400, $500, and $600,000 loans, then the national average is $400,690 for a mortgage. When you're talking that kind of a decision, that's way more personal, way more complex. It is the biggest decision consumers make. They need a trusted advisor. They don't need a piece of technology. That's the key. And all of the focus that they have on technology, so critical. You got to have great technologies because you can't be efficient and you can't be effective without it, but you can't just sell through technology. Technology complements your relationship, and your relationship complements your technology. That's the secret formula right there.
Dale, you have no idea how many people I talk to on a daily basis that say that I want AI to do this entire thing for me. And I'm just like, they are straight face say it. They straight face say it. I want AI to
Then
do
AI should get the commission, I guess.
I guess they should. This is, I mean, honestly,
True.
I love this, Dale. Like I'm feeling this. This is like, I'm taking my own notes. This is great because
That's
you're
what I've
right.
been
People
doing too.
do.
The notes are
People buy
great.
from
Yeah.
people. We're not, AI will not replace a loan officer. I'm sorry. It will never, ever, ever happen. You
Nope.
need to have that personal touch. And if you don't have it, you're going to lose to the person that does. But at the same time, you do need to have the tech. You need to be efficient and effective.
You
You
do.
can't just do one at a time. You have to do 10 things at once. And if you can do that with technology, you're going to do a lot more. But anyway,
Well, and
Let's
you
move.
can't produce high levels of business without technology. That's the key is if you're doing everything manually, you can only close so many loans a month. But if you're using your technology in addition to what you're doing, now you can get to that 15, 20, 25 loans a month, like so many loan officers I'm working with. Heck, I'm working with loan officers, believe it or not, closing 80 loans a month. And if you don't believe that, go watch my Banning 1,000 podcast with Hunter Strong from just 6, 7 months ago. That kid closed 80 loans in a month.
There's
It's
people not
out there.
closing 80 loans in a year they'd be happy about.
It's
You're
out there.
100% right. Dale, let's move to refinances. Like, look, it's summer. It's not winter. It's summer. It's not winter. It's not winter out there. It's summer.
It's
Okay.
summer.
We
Sun's
need,
bright.
we, we have the best opportunity in the world. Okay. Yeah, Dale, but I don't have it. My phone's not ringing for refinances. Everybody's at a
Of course not.
3%. And my phone's not ringing for this.
Of course
Dale,
not.
how am I going to go attack this? How am I going to go get this business that is out there? 20
So here's
deals a month? Who's doing
yeah,
that? Who's doing 20 refis a month?
several. So here's the first thing I'm going to tell you. First off, quit using the word refi. That's your mistake. Nobody likes that word in the 7% market. I can guarantee you right now, because if I'm a consumer and you say refi, my first thing in my mind is, but I got three. Why would I take seven? Obviously, that's what they're going to think. Replace it with the word restructure. We're going to restructure your debt. That's what we're going to do. That's what you're creating for borrowers in today. You're not doing rate and terms in this market. You're not even doing just cash outs in this market. Because if I just give you cash out, you might as well go get a home equity loan or line. That would make more sense than paying off your 3% with a 7% if all I'm doing is handing you 30,000 for improvements. But if you're sitting on a bunch of debt and you're paying ridiculous amounts of money for that, and I combine that with your mortgage and with the debt together, I can do magical things for you on a monthly basis. And that's what matters to borrowers today. When the borrower says, but I have a 3%, I go, I know, but it isn't working for you. It's a number on a sheet of paper in a drawer in your kitchen right now on your loan documents from 3 years ago. But in the real world, you just told me you can't afford to make your payments. You're struggling financially. So if I can lower your payments $400, what does it matter what the rate is on that? If it makes sense to you. That sounds overly simplified, Jimmy. I understand that. But that's how you have to approach it, because at the end of the day, and I say this all the time to loan officers, you don't pay a rate, you pay a payment. You get a rate, but you pay a payment. And what the consumer cares about is what comes out of their pocket. And what the consumer cares about is what's going into their bank account. That's what you got to fix.
I love it because I've never seen someone upset when you restructure their debt and eliminate the stress,
That's
because a
right.
lot of it's super stressful. And then you could even actually restructure it because they're paying such high interest rate. We're talking 29 plus, 29%
Nuts.
on that debt. And if
Nuts.
you restructure it, which just say, and a lot of times, like when we restructure, which just say you're saving them $1,000 a month and they're okay with 500. You take that 500 difference and apply it back towards the mortgage and pay less interest than they were paying even at 3% because you're now paying it towards principal. So there's so many ways to
Exactly right.
restructure it that is a smart decision on why people need to go to you and tell their friends.
I love it, Don. That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Nah, good stuff. I love it. And I love your attitude because there's so many that we just got back from the economic summit that Clayton put on with Housing Wire. And a lot of the verbiage, because we're all rock stars that went there, a lot of really high level people that were at there. And we're all tired of the vernacular of we're waiting until the market gets normal again. That's not a strategy. And how's
No,
that working out for you for the last 3 years? Like you teed up at the very beginning, Jimmy. There's been 3 to 4 years of winter for some that have not adapted. Why don't you lead the change? And that's what we're trying to do at Momentum Builder with people like you, Dale, and Jimmy, is lead the shift in the market and capitalize on that. Am I right?
yeah. James Cameron said, hope is not a strategy, fear is not an option, and luck is not a factor. Very
Boom.
true. You got to make it happen. You can't be fearful of the marketplace. You have to understand people are going to buy homes no matter what rates do. I have the
Always
benefit.
have.
Yeah. I mean, Don and I, Jimmy, all have the benefit of we've done this for a long time. I've got 42 years in this gig. So I have a benefit many of you listening may not have if you're newer in the industry because you haven't seen it for 4+ decades, but I have. And when rates were 17 and a half, they were buying like crazy. When rates were 9, they were buying like crazy. When rates were 3, they were buying like crazy. Rates are 7, they're buying like crazy because home ownership is still the American dream. It always has been, it always will be. And if I can show people how to create savings out of their equity, their home, they're going to want to hear about it. Yeah, they're going to say, well, that doesn't make sense. But like I said to so many customers, and I've taught loans here, you know what? Here's the crazy thing. You're right. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to go from 3 to 7. But here's the question. Didn't I just save you a crap ton of money? And they go, yeah. I go, well, then I guess it makes sense. That's all there is to it.
Your energy is contagious. I love it. And how do people not want to work with that kind of attitude versus, yeah, we're hoping rates are going to get better. Oh, yeah, there's no inventory. I mean, you're just really throwing your own roadblocks out there when you don't need them. You should be the contrarian. And I had the solutions because really that's our job is to have solutions to solve problems. That's what we need to
Yep.
do. And if we tell people that we can solve problems, and we have solutions better than anyone, that's the difference maker between a rocket or somebody else who's not going to actually ask the right questions and solve problems for
Yep.
them.
So you guys are gonna love. I got to share this. You're gonna love this, and the audience I think is gonna love this too. So, how many of us have heard this question or statement? Bar gets on and says, "I'm looking for the lowest rate." Everybody says that. Okay, so I don't know what you guys say, but I'm gonna give you the response to that going forward. Here's what you're gonna say
There we
next time.
go. This is huge. Everyone listen, because we
You're
all
gonna love
need
this.
this.
Bar says, "I'm looking for the lowest rate." Here's what I want you to say. Really? So, can I ask you a question? Do you mean like the lowest in the world? That's the question I want you to ask them. Now they're gonna go, yeah, I guess I do. You go, okay, great. So now let me ask you a question. How many companies do you think have the lowest rate in the world? And the bar's going, I don't know. And you're going to say, well, I do. Only one. That's why they're called the lowest, because there ain't nobody lower. Now, here's the problem. There's over 6,000 lenders in the US alone, which means you got 5,999 calls to go to find that guy, because I don't know who he is today. And then here's the bigger problem. By the time you find the lowest, they ain't going to be the lowest anymore because rates change all the time. Boom. That's all you got to say. And they're like, okay. Gang, lowest rate is a absolute impossible thing to find. If you don't believe it, Google lowest rate mortgage. You're going to get 2.2 million hits instantaneously. Well, I know there's only one, so I'm not sure what the other 2.199 million think they're talking about. It's not about rate. It's about saving, service, changing their life, building a relationship, being an advisor. These are the things that matter. You do that with a smile on your face. You tell them it's summertime, the sun's shining, and I'm going to save you a crap ton of money. They're going to love you.
That's
And
just
you're
the
not
thing.
going
It's
to
just
have the
like,
resistance.
well, who's going to take you on the journey? Because it is a journey. You're renting, you have to
It is.
transition to a home ownership. You have to be a leader for that. And are you going to be the person that's singing doom and gloom that it's 7% and it used to be 3 and yeah, back in the day and all these types of things? Or are you saying, hey, you can't I can't even imagine how much equity you're going to have in 5 years. Can you imagine what the difference is between that and what you would have paid in rent? And
Yeah,
like that's what you're selling. You're selling sunshine.
you are. I mean, Barry will be dear friend, many, many years.
Just
Love
saw
that
him
guy to
yesterday.
death. You know, Barry's one of my best friends, and we've spoke together hundreds of times at conferences over the years. And Barry said this, and this is so powerful. Homeowners in America have 40 times the wealth of renters on average. 40 times. That's all you need to tell a renter. They want to focus on the rate and the down payment and all these other factors that are negative. Say, here's the deal. That's called investment, and homeownership's called return. So I hear you. You're going to have to pay for homeowners insurance and property taxes and closing costs and down payment. But what are you getting for your rent? Nothing. What are you going to get for your home ownership? 40 times the wealth over your lifetime of every other renter on the planet. There's your answer.
See, Dale has
Absolutely.
very simplified answers. Like you're not afraid of whatever the questions or the concerns are out there, you're like, I have the answers. I'm here for you. I have the product. I have the knowledge. I have the, I'll build a relationship. I care. I mean, I was thinking about when you were talking about the lowest rate person. Okay, you find the lowest rate, but are they going to give you the best advice? Probably not. You don't get the fastest car for the cheapest price. You know, you just it goes hand in
Yep.
hand. And are they get in that lowest price person, where are they going to be in another year or two or three or four or five when that particular borrower needs you again? That's where you really build relationships. I have to split one thing I love that you brought up, and I love you guys to hit on a little bit because we're working with our team. And before I leave, because what we're making a shift, and I'd love your opinion to help those that are on the call. And good for you. You know we have a good following today. Good job, Dale, by the way, and good for you guys jumping on
Thank
the
you.
call.
Honored to be here.
We are going more the relational, because at one time you're like, well, there's not enough inventory. There's only so many deals, so we have to go get as many agents. We were finding out that the shotgun effect was not working, meaning
Right.
we weren't relational. So now we've actually flipped the script. So we do a good job of educating. We do lunch and learns and all that. But we found that we just bring 50 to 200 people in a room, but there's no relationship with those 50 to 200. So really what all they were doing is coming up, getting our knowledge, taking what we're
And then
giving
going
them,
somewhere else. Right.
eating our food, drinking our drink, whatever it is,
Yep.
and then leaving. It's not a real relationship. And we're
Right.
really not adding the relational value. Like you said, how can I help you get more transactions because of my knowledge, our product service, our diversity, and the relationship I'm going to develop with that buyer so you don't lose them because they can't afford to lose a deal. What if that lender who has the lowest rate doesn't have a product for your buyer? You just lost the transaction. Can you afford to lose one transaction right now? Why not at least have us as your backup? Worst case. That way you don't lose a transaction that no one right now can afford to lose. So that we're kind of leaning that direction and doing more mastermind, like collecting our, like it's invite only now, and it's the people we want to work with, like you
Yep.
mentioned right at the very beginning, because we're finding out that's the best way to grow your business and have a real opportunity to obtain their business. So I'd love your opinions on that.
Well, I'm going to give you guys a great question that you can ask the next realtor you talk to that you're prospecting and talking to about a business partnership. And we ask all the wrong questions sometimes. And the question I love to ask them is this: how important is it to you as the realtor in the way that the lender represents you from the vantage point of their integrity, their service, their relationship, their responsiveness? How much does that matter to you? They've probably never been asked that question before. And what they're going to do is they're going to stop, they're going to think about it, and they're going to say, you know what? That matters exponentially to me. I want my lender to make me look good. I want them to represent me in the highest possible standard. That's what relationship creates. That's when you can look and go, well, then let me show you how I can deliver that. See, now we're not talking about our rates and our products and all of the other stuff that everybody else talks about. We're talking about how we're delivering far more than just a loan program. Because at the end of the day, here's the truth, guys. We all know this. Everybody's got the same loan programs. Everybody's got the same basic price. We might be an eighth of a point difference between lenders. There's not generally more than that. Yeah, sometimes a quarter. So what? If the service is incredibly better, if you're representing the realtor well, if the customer comes away, here's something I teach loan officers every day. You get a referral, because I see loan officers get referrals from their realtor partners and they don't call them for hours, sometimes a day. Pick up the phone 1 second after you get it and call the consumer. That consumer is going to finish the call, go back to the realtor and go, you're not going to believe this. I got off the phone with you. My phone was ringing from the lender you referred me to. That realtor already knows you're like nobody else on this planet when it comes to the way you serve your customers. And they're going to believe in you. They're going to want to work with you, and you're going to build a deep relationship with them. By the way, at Mortgage Champions, when we teach people on relationship, which is center to everything we do, we don't even spell it RELATIONSHIP. We spell it REALAT and go on. Relationship, kind of like Don referred to a moment ago. That's what you're trying to build.
I'm going to have to sign off because I have to head to an event with about 150 realtors that we can hopefully build relationships with. And that's our goal. And Dale, you are absolutely, I had to jump on this call because I was so excited that you were going to be here with us, because having you part of our Momentum Builder community, because our goal is to just be the best resource. And you're an incredible resource. I love your energy. Everybody needs it right now because a lot of people feel they're in winter when they don't have to. And you're
Yep.
a perfect example of that. I mean, your
Thank you.
energy and your belief that you can kill it. And people are killing it without a doubt. So
They are.
everything's, oh, there's no business to be had. No, go get your market share. And then my team knows that's my favorite word because that's the only thing we can control. We can't control interest rates. We can't control the market. Can't control inventory. Only thing we
Right.
control is what we do and how we handle it and how much market share we earn. You have
Yep.
to earn it. So I love this. And Jimmy, I know he's in great hands. So thank you for closing out. I know we have a gift at the end to get more people at Sales Mastery this year. We're talking 1,500 of the best, those who are smart enough to invest in themselves. I have Todd Duncan this year helping us. It's going to be the experience, not even just an event, the experience of the year.
Thanks.
I know it's going to be game changing. So thank you, Dale. Thank you,
Thank you,
Jimmy.
Don. Great to be
And
with you.
I'll be listening. We record this, so I'm going to listen to the tail end of this stuff because this is good stuff. Like I said, if you see my head down, it's because I take notes on this stuff. It's great. Good
Love it.
stuff. And thank you, everyone, for being on the call. See you guys soon.
Safe
Thanks,
travels,
Jimmy.
my friend.
All right.
Love you,
Talk
my
to you
brother.
soon. Bye. See you, Jimmy.
So, and yeah, Sales Mastery brought to you by Momentum Builder. This has never been done before. This is something that's absolutely epic. And I mean, it's a crazy thing. I want to get back to what you were talking about, though. So, you just described how to call a lead in a way that is more direct to consumer focused than maybe a relationship is. And I came from the DTC world, so I handled all leads the same way, where if you get a new lead in the door, you're dropping what you're doing. You're calling it
Oh
now.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
right now, it's speed to lead because if you don't call it right now, you're losing it to somebody else. I think that referral relationship based lenders, loan officers, generally speaking, look at a referral as I'm going to get to it because I know that that real estate agent referred it to me in the best way. And I think that the way that you're describing this is more so like, how do you reflect the real estate agent?
Yeah.
When I give a referral, am I calling it right away? And then how
Yeah.
many times do I call it? Am I giving up after one time? Am I texting them? Am I emailing them? Am I going all out on this? Am I showing them that I'm on top of it or am I not?
Yes.
And
Yes.
I think talk about that a little bit, Dale, because I think
Yeah.
that we need a little bit more of that speed to lead approach that I don't
Yeah.
think a lot of people do.
Yeah. So Jimmy, it's interesting because you and I have known each other for years. And by the way, my friend, I love you to death, and I'm so glad to be here with you.
Dude, I love
We
this.
we've known each other for a long time, and I started my career in 1983 in the consumer direct world. But I was only a loan officer for a year. Then I managed for 11 years after that, all the way up to running a national mortgage company with 2,300 employees. And in that, I had both retail and consumer direct, both. I ran both of those. And as a trainer for now, this is our 30th year. This is my 30th year anniversary of being a trainer and speaker in the industry.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We're about 50-50. We work with about 50% consumer direct, about 50% retail. And I got to say, I'm so delighted I started in consumer direct because you do learn these principles of speed and relationship. You know, and that you're selling over the phone states away. You got to build relationship over the telephone. Way harder than doing it face to face. So if
Yes.
you can do that well, face to face is super easy. Well, here's the deal. We have to remember that no matter how that realtor introduced us or referred us or what they said about us, we still need to win that borrower over in our own right. Okay? And we want to wow our realtors. That's why you want to get back to them immediately. So if I get a referral, I get a text message, I get an email, I'm available, I'm calling that borrower instant. If I'm on the phone, I'm shooting a text to that borrower and saying, I see you just try to get a hold of me, or I got your information from Realtor Sally. I am with a customer right now, but I am going to call you within 30 minutes as soon as I'm done. Because by getting that text, that consumer's like, wow, okay, if this person's this good from the start, how good are they going to be during this process? I say this to loan officers all the time, Jimmy. Everybody talks about their service. Everybody says, my service is great. What I tell loan officers is you don't talk service, you deliver service. That's
Yes.
what you do. And you only deliver it through your actions. Actions speak way louder than words. So if you call them right away, you don't get them, leave a message, send a text, shoot an email, hit them with all three, because you don't know which one of those three they're most likely to respond to. Everybody's different. I'm a guy that works out of my email. You might be a guy who works out of your text, and somebody else might be somebody who likes a phone call. I'm going to hit all three so I don't miss anything. And then if I'm on a call, I'm going to let you know I'm getting a hold of you as soon as I can. I'm going to respond as quickly as possible because what that does is it speaks incredible service without me ever having to say it. I don't need to tell you how great I am. I showed you how great I am. It just sets the right expectation.
Absolutely. And we're trying to wow a real estate agent and not just like, woo them. We want to keep them. We want them to keep on sending us, hey, when I send it to Jimmy, I know they're getting called immediately. Hey, and if he's busy, he's going to call them immediately when he's done. I think
Yep.
I think that moves a relationship forward. We had a couple things on our itinerary today, and we've gone down a lot of different paths. What do you see, Dale, from a I mean, here you're advising lots of people and talking to a lot of people all across the country. What do you see as a core difference between people that are killing it right now and people that aren't? And more so,
Great
I don't
question.
want to focus on like, okay, you suck and you're awesome. More so, what can people do that maybe
Yeah.
aren't getting those numbers that they want? What are things that maybe
Yeah.
they could emulate to win?
So, number one, belief. Your belief system, there's two things that you have to be always cognizant of, Jimmy: your beliefs and your behaviors. That's all that matters at the end of the day, our beliefs and our behaviors. And notice I said beliefs first, because you can have great behaviors, but if you don't believe in what you're selling, nobody's buying it. So, if you're starting a conversation with, and I hear this all the time, well, as you know, rates are kind of high right now. Why would you start a conversation with that? Why would you state the obvious? They already think that. You just confirmed it. Don't do that. Okay. You got to believe that no matter what the rates are, people are going to buy. People need help. The economy's tough. People are looking to save money. That's what you need to focus on. Okay. So belief is number one. Now let's talk about behaviors. All right. So what are the behaviors of top producers? Behavior number one: they have a daily routine. They are not reactive, they are proactive. They get up in the morning every morning, they follow the same routine. It's like a professional golfer. Every time they address the ball, it's identical. They never change their routine. That's why they're the best in the world, because they know what they're doing every time. Top producers are the same way. So they get up in the morning and they've got their routine. They start with gratefulness, so their belief system and their attitude gets right. They then probably exercise and learn a little bit in the morning. They grow themselves personally. And then when they get to the office, they don't go check their emails because there ain't nothing good in there. Okay? They don't do that. They come in and they set a plan and they start with sales. They sell first. They identify their priorities and they sell first. Because look, I can check my emails at 11 and get all my problems then. Why not sell a couple deals first in the morning? So if I lose a deal in my email, I'm still net plus one. I'm still okay. That's the first thing, is routine. Second thing, they call their database every day. Part of their routine is that they just call their database. I've said this my whole career. A little bit every day is better than a lot once in a while. That's the mistake a lot of loan officers make, is we don't call our database till we're so far in the hole and we got no pipeline that we feel like either we do it or we starve. And then we're pushing way too hard and nobody buys from us. Top producers, 30 minutes every day. I'm calling 20 people a day, every day, 30 minutes. That's what I do. I'm only going to contact probably 3 of the 20 if I'm lucky. The other 17, I'm gonna leave a message, but I'm spreading. I'm just putting seeds out. It's the old reaping and sowing mindset. The more you sow, the more you reap. It's the way it works. So they're hitting their database. What I teach loan officers all the time, here's a great tip for your audience. Take your database. If you have 1,000 people in your database, I want you to talk to them every quarter. So divide it by 60. There's 60 days basically in a quarter, 20 business days a month. So you're going to literally call 33 people a day. That's what you're going to do every single day. Very easy to do. Takes no more than 30 minutes. You call 33 people a day, I promise you, as God is my witness, you're going to close 5 more loans a month just from that effort right there. A lot of people aren't even closing 5 loans a month because you're going to generate 4 or 5 new applications a week out of that, of which you're going to have 1 or 2 great opportunities that are going to lead to an extra closed loan a week is what you're going to have. So they call their database, they have a routine, and they prospect and network constantly. Everybody they talk to. I had Sean Panosian on Batting 1,000 last month.
Ooh,
You know, Sean has
good one.
100,000 people in his database. He's only been in the business since 2012. So 12 years, that's not that long to have that big of a database.
Only 100,000?
Yeah, only 120,000. I said, okay, Sean, how'd you do that? It was simple. Every person I meet, I don't care what they do for a living, I ask them all, tell me what you do. When I was a loan officer, here's what I used to do. Everywhere I went, I would ask people the same question. People I met everywhere. The guy making my hot dog behind the counter. Hey, Mr. Hot Dog Man, can I ask you a question? Are you a homeowner? That was my question. There's only 1 of 2 answers, yes or no. He go, no. I go, would you like to be? Because that's what I do for a living. And I would get applications over my hot dog. Or he'd say yes. I go, okay. Would you like to own your home cheaper? Would you like to save money on it today? Because that's what I do for a living. No matter how they answered the question, it was an opportunity to talk to somebody about either getting a home or saving money. That's what Sean did too. And he put them all in his database. That guy does $1 billion a year in business. He doesn't have to call anybody anymore if he doesn't want to, because they're just going to call him because he has so many of them. It's a process of 3 key things: routine, daily calls, prospecting, and networking. Do that with a positive attitude. No matter what rates are, no matter what inventory is, you will overcome all those obstacles out of sheer just fortitude and action and activity. That's what top producers are doing.
Bro, wow. I'm so glad you're on this call. For the people that are on right now, you guys are just so lucky to get Dale right now. And by the way, in the comments, if you could just do me a favor, if you have a question for Dale, I'm gonna do my best to try to pay attention to it and read them. Dale, I want to just follow up on this. There's a lot of people that I think are, well, here, back up for a second. Barry Habib, you mentioned him. He would get loans from the toll collectors
I
because
know.
he like, I mean, like, it's just like, talk to everybody that you do loans, come on. Like, I mean, I think it's just so obvious, but I think a lot of us are afraid to do it. And like, look, I'm pretty out there with, like, I'll go talk to about anybody, but I think that we all have a certain sense of, like, here, and I've done it. I'll fully admit to this. I've gone up to a networking event, drove there, was dressed, ready to go, got there, ready to go in, and then I said nope, and I drove away. I don't care. I can totally admit
Yeah.
that. However, but if I would have just persevered and just gone in and just talked to somebody, I would have gotten a deal. It's just like that bit. So Dale, like, I think a lot of people are in that. Like, I just drove up to the networking event. I don't have a lot of money. I haven't closed a lot of loans. Things are rough for me right now.
Yep.
And I need to, like, I need to close something. And like, you're
Yeah.
kind of right. Like, you're behind the ball with it. You're calling the people once a quarter where you should
Yep.
have called them every day. You don't want to come across pushy. To the guy that's in that area, in that
Yeah.
kind of like mindset, you know, I think you kind of answered it, but I want to double down on this. How is someone going to get from things aren't that great right now, but I still got to go out and do it, and I got to put a smile on my face, and I gotta close. I gotta win this.
Yeah.
What are you saying to somebody like that?
I'm going to give you the quote of the day on this one.
All right.
At least I think it's a quote of the day. Hopefully you will too.
All right.
Here's the answer. Stop selling and start solving. That's the answer. Quit thinking of yourself in terms of a salesperson. You're not selling anybody anything. You're solving their financial problems. You're solving their business issues. You're helping them make more money. You're helping them grow their business. You're a helper and a solver. You're not a salesperson. If you think like a salesperson, you have a reason to be intimidated because most salespeople suck at their job. And you know what? It's an intimidating position because you're trying to talk somebody into something they don't want. We're not talking anybody into anything they don't want. We're offering people home ownership. We're offering this is American pie. This is baseball. This is as American as it gets. The American dream is called the American dream because it's only available in America. I've been all over the world. I've been in the poorest places in the world on missions trips helping people who are destitute, and I've been in the richest places in the world. And every time I land in America, I'm reminded nobody else has the American dream but America. Because even Europe, which is one of the most, affluent countries in the world, you only own real estate if you are really rich. There is no middle class ownership of real estate. Only in America does that happen. So if we can remind ourselves that our job is not sales, our job is to help people live the American dream. We're there to help them. Our job is not to sell the realtor. Our job is to walk in, meet the realtors, and figure out how can we help them grow their business this year? How can we educate them more? How can we provide them with services and with products they don't already have access to that would expand their business in a difficult time and help them be more successful? And by doing so, build a partnership that we work together for many years. If you just change your thinking from selling to solving, you win. That's the key to all of it. And then the other thing is just take the first step. I've always said the hardest part of working out, of going to the gym, is getting out of the car. That's the hardest part. Once you get in the gym, it's fine. You're like, okay, I'm here now. I might as well do it. Okay. It's making that decision when you pull into the parking lot. Could go home and have, a good dinner, or I could go to the gym. When you make that first step, makes all the difference.
Gosh, everything you just said is worth the price of admission, which is free today, but it's you should have paid for it, all of you. All right, we have Jessica in here. She says, I need a routine to stick with it. I let my day run me. I've been closing, but not as much as I would like. And I'd probably pin back to what Dale was saying. Maybe it's time to have a morning routine. Maybe it's time to get really disciplined on that. And it's something you have to work at every day. And I think that you need to constantly put effort at it. It's not like you have your morning routine and then you're like, I got it. You still have to decide to get up in the morning.
And I would tell Jessica, just run your day. Don't let it run you. So get up in the morning, make a list of the things that you need to get done today that will earn you income. Not don't put on your list, oh, I got to call about that, that loan that's going sideways on me, because that's going to start your day in the wrong direction. And by the time you get done with that, you'll be so depressed you can't sell anything. Start your day with the things that will start your day in a plus profit, plus production mode, and then just plan them out, blocking and tackling, time blocking these things in, and then tackling those time blocks. Get that done first. Start your day with sales. Look, your emails will be there at 11 o'clock. They'll be there at 12 o'clock. The voicemails will be there at 11 and 12 o'clock. We don't need to get to those at 9 o'clock in the morning. Nobody knows when you start but you. For all your customers know you don't start till 11 o'clock. So spend 9 to 11 in proactive sales behaviors. Calling your database, prospecting for realtors, talking to your realtor network, checking in with them, building the relationships, doing lunch and learns, going out to events. Do those things, and you're going to feel great about yourself and your day, and you're going to crush the afternoon then too.
I tell you what, it's momentum building. It's literally the name of
That's a great way to put it.
Of what we're doing. It is momentum. And
Yep.
Dale, I personally attest to this. I'll tell like a 1 minute story. Is that the way I met Dale first? Is that I was a loan officer calling Lending Tree leads, and I was pretty cocky about it. Like I'm the best. I've trained people how to do it, and I'm this big headed type of dude. My head did not fit through a door. I was just so good. God's gift. So. My manager signs me up for Lending Tree University training. I'm like, what is this? Why do I have to do this? Well, if you do it, we get cheaper leads, and we got to put the little badge, we're certified on our email. So you got to go take this training. I'm like, what the heck is this guy, Dale Vermillion, going to teach me about anything? And then you get on, and then Dale is just like, wow, and this is literally the best thing he ever taught me was this, is that you do not come in and check your voicemails. Voicemails used to be a thing. Now it's emails
Yep.
or it's a text.
Right.
First thing you do, if the first thing you do is check your voicemails, there's problems in your voicemails. Why are you going to start your day with problems? How about you start your day calling leads? And Dale, I literally sell this to people. I don't sell this to people. I teach people, coach people, tell people, please do this. I wrote down a list of everything I needed to do that stood in the way of me calling leads, and I made a checklist. Walk in, go to the bathroom, get my coffee, do this, do that, turn on my computer. Like I had to micro do it because otherwise I'd mess it up. I'm not even joking. Otherwise I'd mess it up. And I stuck by it. Like if somebody was making coffee when I was going to go get coffee, I'd be pissed. Like they're in the way of my routine here and I need to get this. But then I would and then the last thing was start my call session. And I would start my calls, and that's freeing to me. And I think that can be freeing to a lot of people, is that if you can possibly not get into Encompass, get into your processing emails, get into your steps, get into your appraisal issues, get into your home, it's all that stuff, problems, demotivating, your day is running you. It will run you if you let it. And I meant this to be a 1 minute thing, but I guess I went 3 minutes on it. Dale, add something to that. I mean,
Loved it.
that's something that truly changed my life. So I mean, and I would encourage everybody. You will let your day run you if you let it. But if you get in on purpose and you get your calls in, it can absolutely change your life. Dale, final thoughts.
Look, first off, honor and joy to be here. Thanks for asking me to come in. Second, guys, you can be as great as you want to be. Do not let the media, who loves to sensationalize everything and loves to give you all the bad news, don't let it steer you in the wrong direction. We are in the greatest industry that there is out there anywhere. That's why I've stayed 42 years in it. We are changing people's lives every time we talk to them. Start thinking about the impact you've had. Look back over your career and just ask yourself the question, how many lives have I changed with the people I've put in homes, the families I've cemented, the people I've helped save money and helped them avoid bankruptcy and foreclosures? And you've all done great things. Focus on that and remind yourself, just because the rates change, that don't mean anything. People aren't going to stop buying homes because rates are 7%. They're not going to stop wanting to borrow money because rates are 7%. They just need to understand how it makes sense to do it when they're 7%. That's your job to explain it to them, to show them the ways you're changing their life as an advisor that's going to make a difference. Just go be great. God made you to be great, not to be average or mediocre. So go be what you were made to be. That's my advice, my closing thought.
Ooh. Wow. All right, Dale, just such an honor to be on with you too, man. I just love you, man. I really do. If I could have another hour with you, I would. We would go on and on and on. But I want to thank everybody for joining us today, and thanks for all the comments, guys. Thanks for engaging. I love seeing all the comments that are coming. We have a couple, the Modern Mortgage Summit, Modern Real Estate Summit, hosted by Dave Savage. That's going on. That's wow.
That's next week, next Thursday. So we're going to take a break from these because John and Gina will be at Modern Mortgage Summit.
I'd highly encourage you attending. Also, there's I believe that they do a digital version of that, and I think I've interviewed almost every one of those people on there on the screen. Every one of those people are just absolute fire people. I mean, top notch. And I know that the way that Dave runs it is that they do 10-minute TED Talk style TED Talks. Can't endorse the Modern Mortgage Summit, Modern Real Estate Summit enough. And then, we got Sean Marrero on. I love that guy. My brother, Sean. If you want some entertainment, go follow Sean on Instagram. He's a pretty funny dude to watch. Definitely don't miss that. He's just one of the most make sense loan officers out there. One-man team. He does it all himself. Does $100 million. Crazy dude. And then look, sales mastery. powered by Momentum Builder. Guys, this is going to be an epic event. I cannot wait to go. Sonia, what's up? Where, like, this is gonna be, I can't even believe it. First off, the venue, the Hyatt Regency Dallas, that place